Hello, these are the early seed potatoes that I purchased in February of the year. We're now in the middle of June, and as you can see, these guys are only in these small 3-inch pots. Now if you're a follower of my channel, you'll know what this is all about, but if you're not, I'll quickly bring you up to speed. In February, when I planted my early potatoes, and that was at the back end of February, I planted them in 10-inch pots. These 5 I set aside and put them in the refrigerator in the house. So these guys were in the fridge for about 4 months. 2 weeks ago I brought them out of the fridge and I set them in these 3-inch pots. Okay, they were in the fridge to try and delay the chitting process, and I think I managed to do that. But now, as you can see, these guys are firing into life and they really want to go. Now the plan was, as I was taking this year's early potatoes out of pots, and that should be happening now incidentally, but it hasn't been such a good year so far. There's been far too much cold wind and I'm behind. But I have taken out 1 pot of early potatoes, and it was disappointing, but I expected that because the weather hasn't been so kind. But my plan has always been to recycle the compost from that 10-inch pot back into the 10-inch pot by invigorating it with some bloodfish and bone and planting these guys. And so instead of at the end of this month and next month having a dozen empty pots or more, some of those pots will actually be refilled. I've done it once with leeks and I got a good result, but I've never tried this before. And I also felt that if the space you're gardening in is very limited, and say it was limited to 5 pots, and say you decided to grow 5 early potatoes, and that would be it. At the end of the year you've had 5 early potatoes. But if we can make this work, as each pot's emptied, we can put another early potato in, and maybe in the space that you've just grown 5 early potatoes, you can grow 10 early potatoes by trying to get a second crop. So these are the guys, they're the names. I hope you can make these out. And the one that's got on the best is this guy here, Rocket. Okay, and as I've said, I've already emptied 1 pot of early potatoes, disappointingly, but this guy's going in now. Okay, so let's just see what's happening in the pot. And remember, this guy was in a fridge 2 weeks ago. Whoa, look at that. We are talking roots, are we not? I'm expecting this guy to really rocket once he gets in there. So let's pop him back in here. Let's go down the garden to the barrow where I'm prepared, and let's put Rocket into his 10-inch pot and let's get him away. Okay, here we go. Rocket, let's get him in. Okay, so this is Rocket. This is going to be his new home. This is a 10-inch pot. This is the compost that's already been used to grow potatoes in. It's second-hand compost. Can you recall that there were lots of seaweed and leaves in this compost? I don't know if you can see this. Some of the leaves that haven't quite rotted down yet, they're still there. The seaweed seems to have got away okay, but some of the leaves are still with us. But they're rotting down all the while, so it's not an issue. Okay. So we'll put this to one side, we'll empty this into the barrow, and then we'll incorporate some bloodfish and bone into there as we said we would. pot with about, let me see, we put about an inch in the bottom of that pot. Okay. Now we're going to sit rocket on that inch of compost. That's rocket sitting on an inch of compost. And this is the last we'll see of rocket for probably a month, certainly a few weeks. Then hopefully it'll pop out the top of there and it'll grow on and it'll make a good early potato, although we probably won't be taking him till August, September, depending on the growing weather that we get. How's that? Okay. We've got our ticket, rocket. Okay. Now the other four, I haven't got pots yet, so I can't pot those up. But as I'm taking the early potatoes this week, next week, the week after, I'll put the others up as well, and then we'll see how these come on. Okay, this is Homegrown Veg, signing off.